Hello YouTube, and welcome to this P3D video. We are in P3D version 3, and as you can probably guess, this is the Cessna 182 by A2A Simulations. I've downloaded the new installers are out, so I've decided to download it and do this video and to sum up my final thoughts and share them with you. I've heard a lot of people criticizing Lockheed Martin for charging the full license fee for this version of Prepared and whether it was worth it or not. This is not the purpose of this video, but I'm going to tell you what I think basically of Prepared version 3 and whether I personally feel that it was worth the investment in a brand new license. Before we kind of wander around in the skies, I do want to make a note about the VAS usage. I've done a lot of tests with the PMDG 777, with the PMDG 737 and GX, and I've also did what I could actually never do before in Prepared or in FSX, which is fly from a payware airport to another payware airport. And I can tell you that the OOMs are not over, but I can tell you that the VAS management has been vastly improved. A lot of the areas where I used to fly around, I could never do it before, and I can do it fairly easily now, and with good VAS, actually when I land, the lowest I got was when I flew the PMDG 777 from Seattle to San Francisco. I do have Fly Tampa or Taxi to Gate, beg your pardon, Taxi to Scenery from Taxi to Gate for Seattle, Washington, and I have the Flightbeam Studios scenery for San Francisco, the new version, the HD version, and I've had no problems basically doing that flight. I reached San Francisco with still 400 MB in VAS. So without further ado, let us go ahead and take off. We are currently situated at Pisa in Tuscany, Italy. This is a very nice city. It's about 45 minutes by bus from Florence. I've been there once. It's highly recommended if you're in the area. You get to see the Pisa Tower, and you know there's just beautiful scenery in this city. So I'm not going to go through the start checklist. Let's go ahead and power this up here, and let's release the parking brake, extend flaps, and off we go. Let's put the frames on. Oops. Okay, so we are averaging, what, 50 frames per second? I'm going to make a few turns left and right, and as soon as we gain some altitude, so that we can see the scenery. But as you can see, P3D version 3, I have now FTX Global, the ORBX Global scenery installed. I have OpenLC, Europe OpenLC installed. I have Opus Weather with active camera. Obviously I have the Rex HD textures and the soft clouds installed, and this is the A2A simulation Cessna 182. So this is pretty much this is quite heavy, so the number of add-ons is comparable to what I used to have in 2.5. and it's very smooth. It's very nice, good frames, no complaints there. Very nice, no blurries. Okay, let's make a turn. also flown past some very dense scenery, such as in Seattle, Washington. Basically, when you take off, the area immediately around the airport is very, very dense. The scenery is quite complex. So with the PMDG 777, I get around 30 frames tops. And of course, I start gaining frames as I climb. With the 737 NGX, I get approximately 35 to 40 frames in that same area near Seattle, Washington. So it's actually pretty good. It's of course, I do have a very capable machine, so that adds to you do need a capable machine to run prepared, and it does consume a lot more resources than X-Plane 10. And I verified this through some testing. So as you can see, the scenery is very nice, very smooth sim, no complaints in that department at all. Okay, now let's switch over to the external view. Let me see if I can stabilize this this aircraft. Yeah. As you can see, it's still very smooth, very nice. The scenery looks very nice, very crisp. There you go. Yeah. I'll show you my settings in a little while. But I just want to there we go. Let's go over this scenery over here. As you can see, the cloud shadows down here, that looks really nice. Brilliant. Very crisp. Okay, so as you can see, our frame rate has increased now slightly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make another turn here to look at how just the blending of clouds and terrain is just absolutely gorgeous. By the way, there is the Pisa Tower. It's right there, and that's the church. It's actually a very nice church to visit. I've been in this church before. Unfortunately, we could not go over onto the tower. It was at the time I went there. There was some construction work going on. So we were unable to actually get on top of the tower. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. We're passing through a cloud now, so okay. As you can see, it runs very smooth. There are no stutters. There are no blurries. It loads fast. By the way, I have 0 tweaks in my config file. No tweaks whatsoever in my config file. And the optimized parts equals 1 is now included in the config file by default. So when you get version 3, you will automatically see that the optimized parts equals 1 is already in the config file. So there's nothing you need to do there. So this is 0 tweaks in my config file. I do have a few settings in my Nvidia control panel, and I'll show you those in a little while. As you can see, now we've been flying for a while, and everything looks very crisp, very nice, no problems whatsoever. Okay, let me show you the take a look at the VAS. So the VAS now is approximately 1.3 gig. So that's 1,344 MB left, and we've been flying for quite some time. And believe me, that's the number that we started with. So as you actually fly around the terrain, it will unload the areas where you don't need, and that helps memory management quite a bit. So we're monitoring our VAS now, and you'll see it loading and unloading, and you know that when that happens is that number either increases or decreases. But overall, I think the VAS management has been improved to a great extent, which makes, by the way, Prepared a very pleasant sim fly-in. Okay. So this is the first part. I'm going to show you my settings, and then I'm going to show you the how the PMDG 777 takes off in wet and rainy conditions, and then I will conclude with my thoughts on getting P3D version 3. Okay, so as far as the settings are concerned, I have FXAA on. I'm going to turn it off for this video. MSAA at 8 samples, texture filtering 16, ultra resolution, VSync is on, target frames is unlimited, wide view aspect ratio, and this is because I have a capable monitor. As far as the scenery, everything is maxed except for mesh resolution, which is at 5 meters. This is the recommendation from ORBX for FTX Global. Lighting, the shadow quality is at ultra, and then I have the terrain shadow cast distance at 40, cloud shadow cast distance at 40, and the object cast shadow distance at 9,000 meters. For the weather, again, this is not different from my previous videos. I always have the cloud draw distance at 60 miles because I control that through OpusWeather. And then the density is at maximum. Volumetric fog is on. Traffic, I have 15% for airline traffic density, and everything else is set to 0. Okay. So we are in the 737 NGX flying over Munich, and as you can see, the scenery is absolutely breathtaking in P3D, especially with the OpenLC scenery from ORBX. As we pass near these clouds, as you can see that we're suffering no stutters or jitters. Everything looks fantastic. In terms of P3D, I believe that there has been vast improvements in this version, which to me is is very worth the money that I paid for the professional license. It is more enjoyable now. You can fly P3D and you can fly these heavy resource-hungry aircrafts and enjoy them, and without worrying about your memory, or worrying about running out of baths, or hearing those ding-ding noises basically warning you that you're running out of memory. Of course, the workaround for me was to save the flight as soon as I'm out of memory and then restart the flight again. Nevertheless, I think personally that the money is well spent for this particular version of P3D. I highly recommend it if you are a serious simmer, and if you like P3D, then by all means do get the version 3. Do get version 3. It is impressive. It is really impressive, very enjoyable. Now, this is of course my personal opinion. It's my personal thoughts. In the end, you're free to do what you like, but to me it works, and it was worth it.